Greetings, unsettled souls, and welcome to The Correct Views. Sam I.B. the Gangi of the Media Speaks, jumping in with today's news. The good thing about doing the show and having it net-based is that you can do it anywhere. I am at a friend's house, so I'm not in my studio. So if you were tuning in to see my pretty face, it's going to be shadowy. If I were you, I would just minimize it, listen to the news, clean your house, do whatever. And for those of you that did tune in for my pretty face, all right, guys, we actually have some serious news today. DailyCaller.com. Former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates. Odds are pretty high that Russia, China, and Iran accessed Hillary's server. Now, this is twofold, and I'll tell you why. First of all, do you realize that the reason China has nuclear missiles pointed at us now is because of secrets that were lost during Los Alamos during the first reign of terror, which we knew as Bill Clinton. That's how they got the nuclear issues that we're looking at now. So it looks like a Clinton has once again let China get even more secrets. It doesn't say they're nuclear, but you get the point. Hopefully they're not. Also, Bernie Sanders was the one who said, well, I don't really care about an email scandal, and stuck up for her. Maybe you'll care about this, Mr. Sanders. Two great reasons not to vote for either one of them. Former Secretary of Defense Robert Gates says, I think the odds are pretty high. Countries like Iran, China, and Russia hacked Hillary Clinton's email server. Yeah, that would be the public server that was put in a guy's bathroom. He owned his own business, and the Secretary of State had her emails routed through a man who had the server in his bathroom. In an interview with Hugh Hewitt on Thursday, former CIA director said the Pentagon acknowledges that they get attacked about 100,000 times a day. Hewitt asked Gates, are you surprised by the news as it continues to come out about former Secretary of Hate server and the fact that the intelligence community's general has said that there are a lot of very highly classified information on the server? No, he said he was delighted. Don't you hate questions like that? Anyway, yeah, that concerns me, he said. I never used the email when I was head of the CIA or the head of the Department of Defense. And I used to joke that I didn't want to have some chief of station overseas email me and say he was going to do something if I didn't get back to him in 3 hours. And I would get back from a 5 hour hearing to discover that I was 2 hours late. I preferred dealing with people face to face, he said. So basically, he's making sure everybody knows he doesn't do it. But point is, Iran has very likely tested non-nuclear missiles beside our fleet in international waters right after we're giving them $1 billion, that would be with a B, dollars, so they can build a nuclear plant and set off dirty bombs to people they don't like Israel. They got some kinds of secrets of some kind. China, we already went over what great friends they are of ours. And Russia. We're in a new Cold War, and she's got her email server in a bathroom against Vladimir Putin, one of the most intelligent leaders, though I don't like him, in the world today. Aren't you glad you tuned in? The College Fix video. College students taught that most U.S. terrorists are conservative white men. This is insane. This whole white guilt thing amazes me. First of all, do you realize that only 1% of the people in the slave owning days that were white ever owned slaves? Do you realize that? The people that owned slaves did not have the last name Gangi. My family probably wasn't even in the country at that time, though I may be white. I'm also part Mexican, and it's fine. Um, we're not politically correct here. The issue is your average white person never owned any slaves. First of all, even if they were morally inclined to do so, it was very expensive. Very expensive. Like owning a Porsche. It wasn't something that even if you were vile enough to do it, you could afford to do. Who owned the slaves? The top 1%, the people that would be the Rockefellers, the Soros. I'm not saying their family did. I'm saying people of that were that rich. Most white people didn't own slaves. They had no ties to slavery at all. Um, most most people were settling. Now you could argue that they did the Indians a great injustice. Yeah, that's true, but they certainly didn't do black people an injustice. The people that did a injustice to the black man were the people that had a fortune, and they were people that were funding the takeover of the Indians' land. That is true. Were they white? Yes, that is also true. But it is not a correct view to say that your average white person has any ties to terrorism whatsoever. That is simply not true. As a matter of fact, some of the poorest people in the United States at that time were Irish, of which the other side, the non-Mexican side of my family, is largely Irish. They were starving to death in the streets with the black man at that time. They were also very, very poor. And a lot of people came from that. You always hear the Irish Catholics. So there's your history lesson for today. Most whites had nothing to do with slavery. So listen to this from the College Fix. Most acts of terrorism in America are committed by white men who are religiously motivated and politically conservative. A psychology professor recently taught his students, adding that 911 is basically the only act of foreign born terrorism that has ever happened in the United States. That is ridiculous. For one thing, you've got San Bernardino that just happened. You've got what looks like the Knishnev brothers, or however you say it, from the Boston bombing. There's plenty of hate to go around with all colors. They're dividing people at every turn. This boneheaded introduction of psychology lesson was given by Dr. Ross Avila, who should be fired, a lecturer at the University of Cali, Merced, who backed up this argument by telling his class about a white Christian man who shot up a Texas state house with an AK-47. By the way, that is an incident which never took place. 90% of U.S. terrorist attacks are from white Caucasian men, Avila told the class. That's not true. The percentage is higher. How high is it? Here's something really sad. It's equal to the number of white people percentage wise. In other words, there's not many Asian mass terrorists, but remember the one Asian that did it at the college? Well, there's not a lot of Asians among us. The bigger problem is that so many people of all races, just people, are inclined to do such things. And it happens on race just because of the numbers that happen to be in the country. This is a mental issue, people. It's not a color issue. Says, by the way, I'm not saying that white men are evil. No, they just like to shoot people. But that is what we should be thinking about. Usually they are people who are religiously motivated and politically conservative. Yeah, as opposed to the peaceful Muslim who would never do it for a religious purpose. The psychology scholar couched his statements in a Lessons of Heroutics, defined as a mental shortcut that allows people to solve problems and make judgments quickly. He essentially argued, it says, many Americans wrongly believe Muslims make up the vast majority of U.S. terrorists because they have not thought long and hard about the matter. No, there are not as many Muslims in the country as there are normal white people. I don't mean normal now, I just mean normal as in there's a lot of us. I don't mean it the other way. White people are the most common, therefore, they're going to be the most common to do something stupid like this or hateful or whatever it is. It doesn't have anything to do with their religion. It's something in their heads, and they're trying to separate us by color, which is why I'm commentating on it today. The other issue is if you look it up, the story that he made in front of 250 students, mostly freshmen, it said the students are very impressionable. The issue is, though, at no point did that bombing that he is talking about ever happen. And in response, the author here names, you can find it in the article, he names in the Boston bombing of 2013 was not white, Chattanooga shooter 2015 not white, underwear bomber not white, although he was allowed on that plane on purpose. So he was mildly retarded. I don't blame him. He's rotting in prison, but he should be in a mental institution, not a prison. And Times Square bomber 2010. The professor responds that during the lesson he told the class that just a few months ago a white, I think he was Christian, I thought he was Christian because it was something about it, the state claimed against God's law and stuff. So a white guy went in with an AK-47 and shot up the state house in Texas, like literally fired 60 rounds at the state house, it says. No one was injured, but it was an act of terrorism, and that happened about a month ago. Now imagine if that man is Muslim. If he had been a Muslim with an AK-47 and shot up the state house, you all would have heard about it then. Well, as the author of this article notes, the Texas shooting, sorry, it never took place. Asked about the content in the lecture to the college fix, Avila said in an email that he actually meant a heavily armed man had stormed the Forsyth Community Courthouse in Georgia in 2014. I had gotten a few of the details wrong. A few of the details wrong. That's not the same story at all. This is divide and conquer. This is teaching the people that are going to college that it somehow matters what color you are or what religion you are. Because if you can argue about that, you can't argue about the fact that we're paying taxes for global warming, which isn't happening. You're not allowed to hear anything about that. No, you have to hate the black man, or the white man, as it were. Kit Daniels' prison planet: Syrian refugees rape a 3-year-old boy in Norway. Now, friends, for those of you new to the show, my longtime listeners, go get a glass of water. You know this. I'm libertarian. I have voted for Bob Barr. I have voted for Gary Johnson. I got to interview Gary Johnson's vice presidential running mate last cycle. Jim Gray was on my show for a half hour. Um, I'm libertarian at heart. I voted for Bush once and regretted it. Um, I voted for the first Bush when I was 18, but I didn't know what libertarianism was. I thought it was only DNR. I didn't know any better. Um, I voted for Brown twice. He's no longer with us, but he was a great libertarian. Rest in peace. That's it. I've never voted Democrat. I voted again. Part of the reason I voted for Bush was I hated Bednarik. I just couldn't stand to listen to him before I'd have hung myself. But I have accepted Trump. He's a bit of an authoritarian, but I don't mind Trump so much. I wanted Rand Paul. I'm still going to vote for Rand Paul in the primary. But let's face it, friends, he's getting shellacked. It's not going to happen. This is not his year. Wasn't it Nixon's aide that told Ronald Reagan the first time Reagan ran? He said, "You'll be president one day, Ronald. Or one year, Ronald, but it won't be this year." That might be the case with Rand. Let's face it, friends. Yes, I'm going to vote for him, but it's not going to happen. I don't even think he'll still be in the race by the time the Ohio primaries come. Yes, I said it. I'm sorry. Hit unsubscribe, but I'm telling you the truth. Police were tipped off of January 6th assault on Wednesday by a person calling from a telephone outside the forest. I'm going to try this once, friend. Achtinakaten Center, located in Stavanger, Norway's third largest city. That's not a name, that is an eye chart. For those of you that care, Akuttintnkvarting, you're welcome to do your impersonation. When Trump says he wants to go after ISIS, that does not mean that he is a warmonger. I'm not in favor of warmongering, but when you're dealing with this, you got to do something. It says, "We are investigating the case as if it's the worst thing that has happened. We are talking about the rape now of a child," Police Superintendent Bjorn Dahl told the Stavanger Aftenblad. "We have no suspects yet. After the attack, the boys were taken to a rape crisis center and then to a children's hospital, according to local media, who said the boy and his caretakers were later interviewed by police. Nearly 800 migrants are staying at the Forest Center, one of several in a far northern European country. Um, the problem here is you're dealing with a number of people that were raised to think it's okay to rape non-Muslim people, and they grew up literally not knowing any better. Do I think they should be allowed to stay? No. But I'm saying that you're dealing with people that should have never been allowed into the country unvetted. You can't. How many of you know when you arrived in Ellis Island back in the what was it, 20s, 30s, whatever? You weren't ushered into New York. You were on Ellis Island for about a month. They made sure you didn't have certain illnesses that was going to infect and kill all of Manhattan, for instance. You didn't just walk off the boat onto Ellis Island with your backpack and go into the city. We've been vetting people forever, and suddenly now it's bad just to make sure you know who's in your own damn country. Or that they even know what your laws are. They've arrested people that don't know that it's wrong to rape someone. Do you understand that? They're just roaming around. In a similar incident, at least 15 Muslim migrants, 14 from Syria, and that's the New Year's rape that was happening. We reported on that already, so I won't sit through that grimness. Friends, I got 3 stories left to get to. I want to give a shout out to the people that have always stood by the show. And one of them would be Sticker Junkie. I'm lucky enough to have as a member of the Media Speaks, StickerJunkie.com's owner. His name's David Lake. He's also my co-partner now on the Media Speaks. And if you want stickers made right, go to StickerJunkie.com. And when you make your stickers, If you know what you want, they can copy, and if you don't know what you want, um, give them some idea, let them know, and email them. They'll help you out, and let them know on your promo code on the way out. It's either the correct views or correct views. I'm not sure which one he has it listed as. Put that as your promo code, maybe both, and you're going to get further savings just because you're doing it and listen to the show. Also, Mike McLaughlin, MacLaughLin. You can find him on Facebook. He's a political writer. He writes horror stories. He writes poetry. He writes a little bit of everything. And make sure you go there and let him know that you heard about it from Sam of the Correct Views. Friends, TechRepublic.com, the campaign against sex robots, raises red flag for violence and victimization. Calls for standards in sex bots. We talked about this when they were banning it in England. Nothing will make the sex bots sell better than if you try to ban it. I do wish I was by Fact Cam. This is a trip because they have like these erotic looking robots. And people are worried that now the robots are going to replace human interaction. If you ban them, then everybody's going to want to know. Let's face it, there there are a large number of people. I don't really know if I'm one of them. I'll be dead honest with my listeners. I don't know. Curiosity may get the best of me. But there's going to be a lot of people when these take off that are going to have sex with these robots. It's just going to happen. I've never had sex with a blow up doll, so maybe I won't have sex with the robot. Who knows? But they're going to come out and they're going to happen. And it's going to be like the human cloning thing. One country says you can't do it, another country says you can't, and then one says you can, and after that it's on. Everybody's doing it. They're coming, friends. No pun intended. They are coming. You are not going to be able to stop the sex robots from coming. Do you understand? Kathleen Richardson is worried about sex robots. Yeah, not ISIS raping kids. No, sex robots. Now, a robot ethics researcher at De Montfort University has spent the last 15 years looking at robots designed to take on intimate roles that were once thought off limits to machines. Companion, friends, and lovers. I don't know if you watch some of the videos I've seen, machines have been around for a minute. Did he just say that? While the concept of a robo girlfriend may seem far fetched, there is the prediction that most of us, yes, you read that right, will be having sex with robots by the year 2050. There's a link for that in here. I don't have Fact Cam up. Although sex robots are nowhere near mainstream, companies like True Companion and Real Doll have already developed strikingly realistic models. If you have any doubt, of course, there is a New York Times video that's also in this article. Some of these companions can engage in conversation and even have downloaded different personalities. So it's almost like those people that say you can download a brain into a robot. They've made like a few movies, science fiction movies like that. Well, they're saying this could be creepy, weird like that. It says it may seem like a fantasy for those who are less inclined or able to form real life relationships. Um, he said that how can the existence of a robot contribute to the inequalities? Well, he worries that the asymmetrical balance of power between human sex bot is parallel to the real world prostitute John relationship, and that the robot, like a prostitute, becomes an object for purchase. And it will be exemplified, of course, onto women. Blah, blah. I promise you, it is not going to be just men. Now, we're pigs, we'll be first. They're going to make male robots too, and do not think for a second that women will not use them, because I promise you they will. It's going to be for the same reason that guys will, either curiosity or loneliness. All right, guys, two to get to. Gateway pundit Jim Hoft, Missouri woman credits Second Amendment, that'd be the right to have a gun, for saving her family. And there's a video in this. Um, this is what she told Fox 2 Now, was from Fox 2 Now, I should say. A Missouri woman says it's a right to carry a gun saved her family's life last Sunday night. They were filling up their vehicle at a gas station when a man armed with a knife opened the door to get inside, knife to a gunfight. The family of four stopped at the Rapid Roberts on Sunshine Street, just west of Highway 65, at about 8 p.m. A man approached their car acting strange. Anytime you see sunshine, it's bad. I remember hearing about the Sunshine Hotel in the barrio. It was like the best place to die of loneliness in all of New York. Whenever something is called sunshine, my experience is you're in trouble. It goes on. Katie Claxton describes the tense moments in a Facebook post. Quote, he opened the door and pulled, and then, and pulled put, she wrote it, and pulled put a knife about the size of a machete and pointed it at me while starting to get in the van. I screamed, Matt, get your gun. And the guy stopped getting in the car and said, you're lucky he has a gun. And then shut the door and started walking away. Claxton says she told her husband, Matt, to shoot the stranger. Instead, he fired off a call to 911. So she was quite pissed. She was both angry and can't type. Um, Officers showed up soon and took David Middleton, 42, into custody, and he was charged with unlawful use of a weapon. And you hear people say, well, why would you need these guns that shoot 30 or 40 rounds for? You hear that all the time. I'll tell you why. And no, I don't have one. Um, Not one of these. Um, Flash mobs are taking over stores on a regular basis. How long do you think it's going to be? It would take what? Catastrophic nuclear event, a major ISIS attack on more than one city, such as a power grid. An EMP would do it for sure, an electromagnetic pulse, even if not nuclear. If you can shut down whole cities, people are going to storm houses in groups. It's happened in other countries, and if anything ever goes bad here, it theoretically could happen here. Am I saying that you should go and get a semi automatic rifle? It's up to you. But that is why you would do so, because it's if you have a gun that, 8 bullets in it, you're not that great of a shot. You got to be careful because if you live in an apartment, if you shoot through the wall, it's not the movies. It'll go straight through. I get that. But there are times that people are going, unfortunately, to need to have a lot of bullets, and that's the one I personally see happening. Are going to be people flash mobbing or gang banging houses. And friends, what do I hear in the distance? That's right, friends, the Dundee of the day. For those of you that don't know, we do the dunce cap of the month once a month, every month, and the dummy Dundee of the day once a day, and we have one for you. This is EAG News. Victor Skinner, teacher threatens to let gunmen in school to shoot third graders between the eyes. you know, some people pick the wrong profession. For instance, when I was in college, I was horrible at anything that had to do with math. I was actually good at math. Anything that had to do with algebra or trig, I was not that great at. And I decided to take 3D modeling because I'm very good with graphics. I am very good with HTML, JavaScript, in as much as I can get something to work. Flash in terms of making animations, not in terms of programming site. Two different kinds of Flash. I'm very good at that. I'm decent at drawing. So I thought, okay, I'm going to take 3D modeling. And I found out very quickly that I was good in a room full of students who were great, which is not my forte. So I got out of it. This teacher here might want that story relayed to her. A freshly trained substitute teacher, I guess they don't tell you not to do this, in Volusia County Schools was banned after she reportedly told students they should let a gunman into the building to shoot them in between the eyes. Linda Baker, 61, was assigned to cover a third grade classroom at Turry T. Small Elementary School in Daytona Beach last Thursday. From her, it's the person here with me is like, you're going to hear it. She's not going to get through this without laughing. And neither am I, clearly. Last Thursday, for her first working in the district after undergoing substitute teacher training last month, the Orlando Sentinel reports. Now, I know a substitute teacher, and she's had trying days. I love you, Cindy, if you're watching, but she's never done anything like this. About 20 students were in a class and apparently misbehaving. I would, I guess they had it coming. When Baker allegedly concocted a story about a gunman with an AK-47 to get their attention. Statements from students and parents contend that Baker dangled her keys in front of students and told them if they don't pipe down, she will let someone in to shoot them between the eyes, parents told WESH, W-E-S-H. Volusia County School District spokesman Nancy Waite, I bet she couldn't wait to tell you about this, told the Sentinel the class full-time teacher was at a training session and stopped in to check on her students. They apparently told her about the threat and she revealed the comments to administrators. School officials questioned the students and asked them to write down what occurred, and the consensus was the baker told them that if the class disrespected her, that it had been known for people to come to the class with an AK-47 and to shoot kids, and that she having the key to the classroom would let them in to shoot you between the eyes, according to the police report cited by the news site. It is pretty clear that she had said these things to the students. It was a very inappropriate comment, Waite said. One student told Wesh that her son was traumatized by Baker's comments. Now that's just somebody fishing for a lawsuit, but you knew that was coming. He was very shaken, the parent said. He had difficulty at first going to sleep. Yeah, because the gunman was in his house. Cop out, chasing lawyers. You know what? She's going to win, though. I'm sorry. She's going to chase this lawyer and she's going to win. An assistant principal escorted Baker off the school property and sent a recorded message home to third grade parents about the incident, and it goes over what I just told you about. So there you go. We wanted to assure them, the parents, that we would not be back in any she would not be back in any capacity. We have made sure that this substitute will not be teaching in our schools. She will not be eligible for any job in Volusia County schools. No, I'm sure she'll be teaching at Stark County schools where I'm at next week. Friends, you're listening to The Correct Views. Sam I.B. Gangi signing off, reminding you can donate to me if you would like at the Media Speaks. If I give you the right spot, boo boo. You can donate to me at the correct views at hotmail.com. I'll give you the address to send it at. Every penny you give to me goes towards a better show. Hope you enjoyed the news. Share this. Let other people know that I am out here, and I will see you Saturday at 2 p.m. on the Media Speaks on the YouTube channel. We go live every Saturday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Good night, friends.